Time right before your CELPIP exam is very crucial. How you spend the time is going to determine what your results are going to be. We're going to discuss 5 things that you should not do, but a lot of people do that before the exam, and 5 things that you should do, which a lot of people miss, obviously. That's why there's a huge rate of people who fail the exam the first time. Majority of the students who want to score a 9 fail the first time. If you're talking about 7, it's more like 50-50. If you only want to score 5, then majority do pass. But if you're looking for a 7 or 9, this video is for you. And if you have booked the exam in 2 days time, in 3 days time, this video will not help much. So we're talking about at least a week before your exam, 2 weeks before your exam, what you have to do and what activities you should focus on. So the first thing you should not do before the exam date is study. So what does that mean? A lot of people start studying 2 days before, literally, and a lot of times they definitely do it the day before. Research, and I think by now it's common knowledge, but if you don't know this, research has shown if you study the day before your exam for anything, it's CELPIP, math, English, whatever, you're gonna forget most of the content because it's studied under stress, and it's also a day before, which means you don't have time for revision. And it will reflect badly on the next day because you will not have a fresh mind because you would have consumed so much of that the day before. So the mind getting tired is a phenomenon and it should be taken seriously. You should have a rest day before your exam day. Especially, you should have a full night's sleep before your exam day. A lot of people get nervous and they cannot sleep. That's also a must not do. Make sure you have rest, at least one rest day before the exam to just refresh your mind and have a proper night's sleep. Don't leave any study for the very last day. The second thing is not preparing. Now, this is again not in the last day, but weeks or days prior to your exam. You want to prepare. So a lot of people just overlook it. They think it's an easy exam, and as I said, majority or more people who are looking to get a 9 are going to fail the very first time. So not preparing and underestimating this exam is a big problem. You can prepare with your own resources at home. You can prepare with our courses, with coaches. With coaches and proper training, you get a lot of benefit and you feel more confident before the exam. So don't overlook preparation. If you have good English, you still need to do preparation because this is a very different beast. Third thing is looking at fake or misleading online samples. Online, you have a lot of people who are unqualified teachers, or there are a lot of samples that say, hey, talk like this, you're going to score 10. I just laugh at that whenever I see that because those speaking samples you see online are full of mistakes. Those writing samples you see are loaded with errors, and they have an explanation. They say, you can make like 10 errors and you're gonna get a 9. That's impossible. If you want a 9, you just make 2 mistakes max. Even a third mistake can bring you down to 8. So 9 in CELPIP or 10, that means perfection. 12 is perfection, but you have to assume that 9 and 10 are perfection. And 11 and 12 scores of that nature are beyond perfection, basically. So if you're looking at easy samples online and not the ones from HZad Education, and you'll know this because you will see them and you'll be like, I can talk like that or I can write like that, then it's a misleading sample. If you look at these samples and you feel like, damn, that's like PhD level English and that is so advanced, I don't know if I can do that. That's the right sample because it is actually that sample that is required to get you to a 9 or more. The fourth thing is thinking that English is enough. I got an email from a native speaker, I think 2 days ago, and I get these emails a lot. Native speakers or people who are not grown, they're human beings, who are raised here, they have impeccable English, right? Like you communicate with them, they're brilliant, but they fail in the exam. Good English is not enough. CELPIP itself demands that you learn CELPIP strategies, which are English related, but a lot of them are CELPIP related too. How you find shortcuts in finding reading answers, listening answers, or what is the structure required for writing, what is the template required for speaking. And by the way, you can find all these things on our blogs, on our website, or on our YouTube channel. Just go here, explore our videos. You'll see a lot of great content that will teach you all those things. So remember, CELPIP focus strategies, not just thinking your overall English is good. It helps, but it's not the only criteria. The fifth thing that people miss is not practicing enough writing and speaking. Now, it's hard, okay? It's hard to take out a pen and paper or type because you physically have to move. It's hard to speak because you have to close your room and then you have to talk, you have to record yourself, for example. All of that requires a lot of movement, right? And we hate movement. We see how few people work out. What's easier to do is reading and listening because you just click multiple choice questions, you listen, you read. It's like the simplest thing you can do, and that's what most people do. They don't practice writing and speaking, and if you don't do that, you will realize very quickly that writing and speaking are the hardest marked modules. People lose the most amount of marks in speaking, and secondly, writing. Reading and listening are the easiest modules. So if you're giving more time to reading and listening, save some of that time dedicated towards writing and speaking. That's where you need more attention. Now, these are the things you should not do, and a lot of people do them. So you might feel like you're one of them. Maybe I've mentioned your last weeks of preparation in these 5 descriptions. And if you are one of those people, let's talk about the other 5 things you should do. And these are the things that people do who always score great marks. The simplest thing I'm going to say first is whatever 5 things I just mentioned, just do the opposite. Okay, so that's common sense. Just do the opposite of that. But let me get into some specifics. So the first thing you want to do in terms of vocabulary, you want to practice as much vocab as you can. You can do this by going online, going to word lists. You can also go to our blog, by the way. We have the best word list. Just type there CELPIP word list. You'll see 400 words for free on our blog. And you want to memorize 10, 20, 30 words per day. Make it a habit. Learn new words. Now, when you're typing for writing practice or when you're speaking, review your answers, go online, type those words that you usually write, type them out on thesaurus.com so you understand some synonyms. Now, when you understand synonyms, you will know what are some alternate words you can use, and those words should be advanced, less commonly used words, so that you sound better and more advanced in your exam. So improving vocab is one. A lot of people just overlook it completely. The second thing is grammar. As I mentioned, you can only have 2 to 3 grammar mistakes if you want a 9 or more in the exam. So practicing grammar using software like Grammarly, using our coaches, or asking some of your friends to help you out. Anything that you can do for self-review or review by a teacher for grammar is important because grammar needs to be reviewed. There's no answer sheet for grammar. So whatever you type for writing, whatever you record for speaking, someone or you need to review your grammar. Thinking that you can make a bunch of mistakes because you're not looking for a 12, you're looking for a 9. So maybe I can make 10 grammar mistakes in the exam. It doesn't work like that. You need almost perfect grammar. Like when I say you need 2 mistakes max, I'm basically saying your grammar should be perfect. Okay, the third thing is asking someone their opinion. Now, this is a gray area because a lot of times people ask their friends about, hey, how's my writing or how's my speaking? You don't need to ask opinions on reading and listening because you have answer sheets, right? But when you ask your friends, a lot of them have worse English than you, and they might give you a very bad opinion. Some friends who you think are qualified, who have maybe given this exam before, or who have superior English, their advice, you should take that, maybe. However, if you want to be the most secure, make sure to take proper coaching, make sure to take proper preparation. Once again, our online resources and our classes can help you with that, as well as our $49 course, which is also in the description. Which brings me to my next point. The fourth point is people not doing enough practice tests. This one reason is there's not much available online for CELPIP. For IELTS, you have stuff, right? There's so many things, but CELPIP is fairly new in comparison. You don't have many things. So you can go, what you do is you go on the Paragon website. They do have great materials. However, a cheaper way and a more effective way is going to our course. Check it out. It's always in the description, the $49 course. That has 5 mock tests at a very reasonable price, much cheaper than what Paragon or any other company offers you. It also comes with a lot of perks. If you see that, just go to our website. You'll be blown away with the detail it comes along with. It comes with 15 hours of video lectures, practice resources, mock tests, and free feedback, limited time offer as well. So you can check all of that out. But when people don't practice enough tests, they are just completely going in the exam in blind, in the dark, and they would be surprised with the format, they would be surprised with the timing, and so many things. Practicing enough mock tests before your exam is also very important, and that's the fourth thing you should do. The fifth thing is having a good deadline. Now, this is for people who have not booked their exam, or even if you have, maybe you can move the deadline. The ideal time, the minimum time for preparation, that's different things actually. The minimum time for preparation you should have is 3 weeks. That's when you're super in a rush. You just have to do the exam. The ideal time, however, is 6 weeks. If you have 6 weeks, you're solid. That also depends. It all comes with a caveat. If you are at the intermediate level, that this is the instruction for you. Minimum 3 weeks, ideally 6 weeks. But if you're a beginner or you're really weak in English, you need months. And that could depend. If you're really a beginner, maybe you're at a level 4, you need a level 9, you need 6 months. Intermediate is someone who's around a 6. Okay? So you need a 9, give yourself 6 weeks, or at least minimum 3 weeks. People book the exam a week in advance, with the deadline being a week later from the time they have booked the online exam. That's not enough time. Some people even do 2 to 3 days. So if you're doing a week, hats off to you. However, you don't want to waste your $300. You don't want to go through the exam, waste time on that day, and 2 weeks later you get a result which you didn't want. You get demotivation. You have to try again. You wasted all this time, and now you're going to pay $300 more. Just doesn't make sense. It's much better to have enough deadline so you can prepare every day. It's just going to improve your English more and more so you can use it for a life. Don't think you're wasting your life on CELPIP preparation. It's also going to help you with your English. So you prepare, you just do it once, go ahead and finish the exam. If you take the courses, you just ensure it's a one try and you don't do the exam repeatedly. You don't keep wasting your money and time. Having enough deadline is super important, and that's point number 5 you should focus on. So guys, those were my points on what you should do and what you should not do. This is based on the student results I see. This is based on the emails I get with the students struggling. They mostly follow the things that they should not do. And if you want examples of what my successful students do the 5 things that I mentioned later in this video. I hope that helped. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk soon. Take care.